Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the challenges, innovations, and strategies shaping the future of 3PL.
The panoramic view of warehouse activity was captivating, almost hypnotic, when viewed through Kevin's office's lightly tinted floor-to-ceiling soundproof glass windows. High-low drivers with empty vehicles navigated at a good clip down long aisles to the main loading docks, slowing their machines to a crawl at each aisle intersection, much like cars at busy street intersections. The drivers slowed their vehicles to give right away to other high-low drivers. Then they quickly turned into the aisles to follow the preceding vehicles, driving in single file, 3, 4, sometimes 7 deep, all at the same speed, making the appearance of fast-moving train cars. Exiting the aisles and onto the main loading dock, the drivers would break formation in a scramble and steer the high-low vehicles to their assigned trucks at the main loading docks, dodging other empty high-lows and oncoming high-lows with pallets heading back into the storage aisles. What stops these guys from running into each other? Cleo asked Kevin as he witnessed this show. There are a few tricks, like wide-angle circular mirrors mounted at each intersection, and drive-by rules to abide by, like always passing oncoming high-lows on the left side. Besides, most of the guys have worked together for a while, so it's kind of choreographed. Kevin smiled as he responded, "Pretty neat view, huh?" Cleo agreed, it was neat to watch. The high-low drivers maneuvered the machines to lift the humongous pallets of ice cream effortlessly from the staging floor and slowly trek their cargo into the warehouse aisles. Pallets of ice cream, typically weighing over 2 tons, dwarfed the drivers and high-low machines. It was like watching a platoon of ants, each hauling off potato chip crumbs several times their size. Giant pallets, high-low machines, and drivers lumbered slowly from the loading dock and disappeared into the warehouse aisles. But an attentive observer would notice something unusual, even comical. Looking carefully, on occasion, top portions of some pallets would protrude above the uppermost bin/slots as if they were peeking over the warehouse and then slowly recede and disappear into their respective bin locations. The peekaboo movements gave the pallets an animated quality. Cleo pictured his grandson Solomon making a game of this phenomenon, the big monster pop-up or peekaboo game. "There it is, Baba," it popped up. "There it is again, Baba, they are hiding, Baba," he would say to Cleo, giggling and standing on his tiptoes, leaning into the tinted glass, his breath making small foggy circles, smudging it up with his fingers, hands, nose, and forehead, then jumping away from the glass to avoid being spotted by the dreaded pallet monsters.
"The schedules are not working. They're all wrong. My guys were leaving pallets in the staging areas and then going back and grabbing the wrong pallets and putting them in the wrong bins. So, I can't use the system right now."
Omar was the chief foreman, a big, gruff guy with intense, steely eyes. His steely eyes fixed on Kevin as he spoke. It was as if he anticipated Kevin's question and decided to answer it as we walked up to his desk. He ignored Cleo. His demeanor emitted impatience and not so subtle annoyance at our intrusion into his space, a small office with an entrance from the docks and windows overlooking the docks, staging areas and trucks on one side, and windows overlooking the main aisles and nearby warehouse aisle intersections on the other.
"I got 18 to 20 trucks to load for outbound shipments tomorrow morning. They're pulling in here bright and early at 4 a.m. So, if this isn't fixed, I can't use it."
"Yeah, Omar, I know we got problems," Kevin said calmly. "Cleo and I just want to look at a few of the put-away schedules to help us troubleshoot the source of the problem."
"The darn things are useless. I threw them away. I don't have any in my office. I told the guys to quit using them. You see what's on my desk? I'm doing all this by hand."
Mike had arranged stacks of yellow legal pad paper on his desk and office floor. Each stack for the aisles is drawn on his whiteboard, depicting the aisles with the most high-low activity. So when Kevin asked, "Do you have time to take a look at this?" he was really saying, "You need to get this problem solved quickly before this thing blows up on us." Cleo, feeling the urgency of the situation, focused on his breathing to regain his composure. With each slow, deep breath, His mind raced to formulate a plan to swiftly identify the source of the problem with the put-away schedules. He examined the contents of one of the put-away schedules from a stack of computer-generated schedules Omar had shoved to one side of a table in his office. Omar was out in the staging area of the warehouse, managing the helter-skelter and assuring his crews of high-low drivers that this problem would get sorted out, one way or another. The contents appeared to be okay. Here was a list of 40 pallets of ice cream. The pallets appeared to be properly assigned to their respective pre-assigned bins and slots in the warehouse. However, the high-low drivers complained that the pre-assigned slots already contained pallets, forcing them to either put the pallets in the first available slot they could find, or drive back to the staging area and complain to the foreman. Cleo considered this problem a bit more. The contents of the put-away schedules are created from electronic advance shipping notices, or ASNs, transmitted from CLW's customers. Cleo walked over to the computer monitor on Omar's desk, signed into the warehouse management system, and retrieved the electronic version of the hard copy put-away schedule in his hand. The contents on the computer screen match what was printed on the hard copy. Cleo then quickly walked across the warehouse back to Kevin's office and, with the assistance of Kevin's office manager, found the trucker's manifest listing the contents of the inbound truck containing the pallets of ice cream. The contents of the manifest should match the contents of the put-away schedule. Well, they didn't match. Cleo and the office assistant compared several more put-away schedules to their respective manifests. None of them matched. Cleo needed to contact the internet service provider that maintains CLW's cloud-based warehouse management system, a third-party vendor that CLW contracted with. The office manager quickly connected with their technical support unit and transferred the call to Cleo. Both parties spoke through speakerphones, and Cleo explained that the inbound advance shipping notices didn't match the inbound trucker's manifest. At first, the spokeswoman for the tech support unit was skeptical and somewhat condescending, suggesting that we check a few more put-away schedules. Besides, she explained that the advance shipping notices were transmitted from CLW's customer, maybe he should check with them first. Kevin overheard her flippant response as he walked into his office. He was followed by the owner of the warehouse, Mr. Agboruche, a large older gentleman with eyes almost as steely as Omar's. He greeted Cleo with a slight nod but remained silent. Kevin quickly took charge of the conversation, making it clear to the tech support unit that their company would be responsible for any losses incurred by this computer glitch if their system were the cause. The spokeswoman's tone quickly became more attentive and apologetic as she requested to place the conference call on mute momentarily. At the same time, the tech support unit checked a few things on their end. Within minutes, the speaker's phone was unmuted, and she humbly thanked us for our patience and apologized for the delay. She then confessed that the source of the computer glitch was in their system and the problem was being rectified now. She explained that a routine data backup and recovery exercise was the cause of the glitch. Data files containing the current day's advance shipping notices had been erroneously replaced with the previous day's files. The current day's advance shipping notices are being transmitted now. Fortunately, things were back on track before noon. Mr. Agboruche asked Kevin and Cleo if there was any way to prevent this vendor from repeating this mistake. Should the IT operation be brought back in-house under CLW's control? Kevin turned to Cleo for a response. Cleo stated that CLW's decision to outsource the IT services was a wise and cost-effective choice. However, there is an inherent risk from depending on the vendor's IT operations because CLW cannot know if this glitch is unusual for their operations or if it is evidence of systemic problems with the vendor's IT controls. Cleo suggested that an independent third party examine the vendor's IT controls. The most prominent source of such expertise is CPA firms that specialize in examining the IT controls of internet service providers like this vendor. IT controls within the following categories are examined: security, system availability, data integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. CLW's interest would be in findings related to examining IT controls for security, system availability, and data integrity. The results of such examinations are reported in documents called System and Organization Controls Reports, or SOC reports. These examinations are done annually. The vendor incurs the cost of the report, not CLW. Maybe the vendor has a current SOC report. If so, Cleo stated he'd be happy to review the report and provide an opinion. Cleo continued that if the vendor doesn't have a current SOC report, CLW should insist they obtain one in light of this mishap. If the vendor doesn't commit to obtaining a current SOC report, Cleo advised that CLW consider contracting with an internet service provider that can provide a current SOC report. Mr. Agboruche thanked Cleo for his help and advice and excused himself and Kevin before they departed to Kevin's office and headed toward Mr. Agboruche's office. Wow, that was scary, yet exhilarating, Cleo thought. He then stood up from the chair across from Kevin's desk and walked over to Kevin's picturesque office window overlooking the warehouse. Omar, the foreman, was walking quickly down one of the warehouse aisles that was easily viewed from Kevin's office. He instinctively looked up and made eye contact with Cleo, then smiled and gave a thumbs-up signal. The pickable pallet monsters were again active throughout the warehouse. Cleo couldn't be happier.